Am I the asshole for refusing to exclude my non-biological son for the sake of my biological son I never knew existed? My wife and I have 3 kids. My 18-year-old son, let's call him Blake, is not me or my wife's biological son. He is my best friend's son. My best friend tragically passed away when Blake was 7. My best friend was like a brother, and he was a single father. My wife and I ended up getting legal guardianship of Blake after my best friend died. Blake was 7 at the time. We got guardianship of Blake for a lot of reason, but that isn't my story to tell. That is Blake's story, so I will not go into detail. But Blake is my son. I will always respect and honor his biological father, but Blake views me as his dad and he views my wife as his mom. My other kids are his siblings. Things have not been easy, but Blake has grown into an amazing man that I am so proud of. Little backstory. My wife and I broke up like 6 weeks after our oldest son was born because the stress of parenthood was driving me and my wife apart. We were not married at the time, so we went off and lived our own lives as single people for about a year. I was of course still an involved father towards my oldest son. During the beginning of me and my wife's breakup, when Danny was maybe 4 months old, I met a woman who was a lot older than me. Me and Lily were never a couple. We met up a few times. Never spoke to each other after that. Lily had a son, James. Apparently she thought James was the son of Lily's husband, who she is still with to this day, despite the fact Lily cheated on her husband. James took an ancestry when he turned 18, had some results that didn't quite match who he thought was his biological father. He matched with me on ancestry because I took a test a few years back. James got in contact, which obviously was a shock to me, but my wife and I have welcomed him into our family with open arms. Now I have 4 kids. I'm still figuring out my father-son dynamic with James, but he is a great guy, and I'm so happy he is part of our lives now. Despite how confusing this whole situation was at first, but James seems to have some issues with Blake. Blake does not know. I'm not entirely sure why James seems to resent Blake. Earlier today, James asked me if we could go on a father-son camping trip with Danny. I was of course very much enthusiastic about a camping trip with my sons, especially since I miss so much of James's life. But I obviously mentioned that Blake is invited too. James got annoyed. He kept telling me that Blake doesn't have to be invited to everything. Then he told me that it would be nice for me to just spend time with my actual sons for once, without Blake. Now that annoyed me. Blake is my son just as much as Danny and James are. So I told James that either Blake is invited or the camping trip is not happening. James is now accusing me of loving Blake more than I love him.